Welcome everybody to Delta Light Studio in Milan, and we're very happy to have you here. Today we're going to discuss and we'll have a dialogue with about the Soliscape is a new range that we are developing in collaboration with the UN Studio. And I would like to introduce you first of all, Mr. Ben van Berkel, who is the founder of UN Studio. UN Studio, international architectural practice from Amsterdam, with offices in several countries and projects, amazing project worldwide. And I will just leave briefly the microphone to Mr. Jan Amelot, who is our shareholder managing director of the company, who will first give you a little bit insight about what we do in Delta Light. Okay, thank you.
I don't need the mic. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. We feel really excited to be here, actually, because it has been a while, and of course, it's our studio in Milan. I think it's 3 years ago that we really had a great event here the last time, and a push on a button to launch a product. And having online trainings and conversations, that does the job, but a lot of the magic gets lost. We really want to feel the energy, we want to feel the presence of the people, the feedback, so therefore we're very excited to be here, and also we're honored that everybody could be present here today. The last couple of, let's say, period has been difficult for everyone, but we never lost our focus, and our focus was to continue to invest in the future, because we really believe the future is there, and we are also ambitious towards that future, and therefore we continue to invest in our product and development R&D. That's also why we launched our Lighting Bible 14 this year, with lots of new products that you can discover here. And of course, one of the highlights this year was the launch and the collaboration of the Soliscape with UN Studio. I must say that we're really proud of the result, but not only this, the complete process to work with one of the best architect offices and the most innovative architect offices in the world was really inspiring. The complete process of the design with Ben, with William and Filippo and the complete team, and we're really proud of that result. Of course, for me now it's to give the word to Ben van Berkel, who is, of course, as Danilo announced already, the founder and principal architect of UN Studio. And really proud of your presence here, so thank you very much of your presence. It's an honor to have you here, and together with Danilo Mandelli, who is our project coordinator, project director, we will talk about human well-being in lighting and architecture. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start, Ben, to have a little dialogue about the Soliscape. So with Soliscape, you designed for Delta Light. You decided to combine light with acoustic, smart sensoring, so resulting in a system that can interact with many different functions and for a building. So what was the starting point and the main ambition when your team started to design Soliscape?
Maybe you know that we, with our new group called UNSX, that we believe that products should have new types of experiences, and that particularly with a long history in doing research on health, strange enough, even for a long time before the COVID came out, we often believe that it is good to think about a product what would support a healthy environment, whereby you could, with light, reduce maybe other factors within the environment of maybe too much noise in a meeting space, maybe the way how you can react with a lighting system towards, not only the acoustics, but also that you improve the lighting system. And maybe you know that. We always talk about improving our environment or outdoor environment, but nobody talks about the indoor environment. You know, the quality of indoor environments is not great. Mm-hmm. And we thought with this system we could think about all these things who could connect lighting to a better and a healthier environment related to light, sound, and hopefully with technology to more aspects where we with technology can react to in the future.
Yes, when we talk about technology, actually, I always take inspiration from your, can I call it motto, future-proofing the future?
Yeah.
How does Soliscape become a part of this?
Well, I think the beauty of Soliscape is that in a way we say it is not a traditional product. It's almost, you could call it a landscape system of new possibilities for change. Because with your team or the team of Delta Light, we've worked so nicely on bringing in all these layers of possibilities for the future of the way how you can install this light. Like, for instance, there is a sensor you can place onto the system. That sensor can react to all kinds of activities in the room. Let's say if the quality of the air is not good enough, then you maybe can get that information through the lighting system, and many other aspects related again towards health is what you can add to the system in the future. So maybe what you're asking is what this product can do in the future, and that is that you can always add things towards it, and you can. I don't like to say experiment with it because it's not an experiment, it's a real thing. Mm-hmm. But you can add new things towards it, like with your phone.
Yes, and also your architecture respect perfectly this idea of being innovative and future-proof.
I don't know what it is, but lately, you know, everything you design today is not ready tomorrow. Buildings, they take sometimes big buildings or big urban areas, they take sometimes 10 years to be finished. And it's the same what we see now with other products in the world.
When projects are long term, because of course most of your projects are long term, so you need to be, you know, up to speed to what is going to be the technology of the future.
Yeah, but that a product can be so adaptive, because that's maybe the idea, and I think you like that idea too, is that adaptability is something where the future will deal with much more in our environment. It's not only to deal with adaptability in products alone, but I think it will also happen with buildings. Buildings will, like a phone, you know, a phone is also adaptable and in a way is never finished.
How important is lighting in all of this? So at UN Studio, what is your approach to integrating lighting within an architectural process?
You know, I'm the architect, and the team, of course, who loves light in the built environment. Don't forget that light, you know, the way how you deal with contrast, and you know, the quality of light plays an incredibly important role in architecture. And then I'm not only talking about daylight. But this light can react towards daylight. You know, it can react towards the color of the daylight and how it can adjust itself to the color temperature of circadian light systems. I mean, maybe people don't know enough about the effects of light on your health, for instance, indoor light. But it can have a lot of effects. And the quality of that you can lit up a space like an artwork, you know, so that's the cultural side of light. I think that's beautiful that you have the cultural side, and then you have the more, let's say, call it the human-centric, maybe call it also the technological possibilities of the adaptability of the system of light, what I think is the other side of the quality of the way how I think light plays in a very important role in the indoor.
Yes, and of course at the same time, when you can combine this type of sensors to control the efficiency of the lighting, or maybe you're reducing also the consumption, so you then create something which is at the same time also sustainable.
Yeah, but sorry, I forgot to say but that's also the beauty of Delta Light. That what I like is that you're not going for commercial reasons to introduce a light system with a sensor that follows people in the room and are going to trace how hard people work or something like that. That's not going to be the lighting system, I think. But the light system is there to do the good things in life, you know, like what you said about health, what you said about sustainability. I think that's really great.
And you know, when we are talking basically about well-being, and so well-being in general in office space is becoming a very important factor to create a good and healthy working environment. So not only about Soliscape, but in general, in your project, how do you approach that in your design process? What is the role nowadays of an architect for this?
You know, I lately say that the brief for the architect is clearer than ever before. You know, if I go back to the 90s or maybe the beginning of 2000, sometimes we would get a brief from the client and they would say, well, we have designed a building, sorry, but if you can do some facade adjustments, then, you know, that was often a client's brief. But today, with all the question of sustainability, as you said, or topics around health, or the way how we can reduce carbon, CO2, I think these topics are going to be the future of how you have to design the environment. But for instance, I did a lot of research on health and the built environment, especially with my students at Harvard. So now for the last maybe 6 years. And we chaptered up in 3 layers. So you have mental health, in the environment, social health, and physical health. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned is that there are so many little things you can do to the built environment to stimulate walkability, for instance, that people walk more in the space. Or that you can, like for instance, I mean, I hide now more the elevators in a building, mm-hmm. so that people take more, you know, then you of course have to make an attractive staircase,
right,
with maybe nice light in it. But, you know, but the people use the staircase much more to interact with each other socially, to stimulate innovation in an office environment, for instance. And that through walkability, that people walk, you know, physically much more in a day than sitting the whole day, because I mean that's, you know, they call it the new smoking, sitting the whole day. So that is maybe something I connect to. In a way you could call it physical health, but also social health, and you could connect it, who knows, also to mental health, because social interaction in the office environment is as important as any kind of other physical health form, because it's proven that if you don't talk to your friends or to your colleagues' friends, then that's not good for your existence, being for so many hours in an environment.
And nowadays, after this pandemic period, I think this social interaction becomes even more important, and that's the reason why we wanted to create this nice environment here with our pop-up "Won't You Close?" because it's a recall, you know, to bringing back that good habit of socializing, which is a bit gone, unfortunately. So, can we say that? I remember you made a statement about this fact that the technology is moving faster, while architecture and construction are moving slower. Can we say that this is still creating a bigger and bigger gap, or something is moving a little bit to get them still closer?
Well, I think you're one of the first companies. I mean, Delta Light is one of the few first companies who bring more technology to a product. And I'm not saying that is the only way to do it, but I do believe that you made it possible to bring these two worlds a bit more together. Like in architecture, what is the difficulty is that you have the building process, but it's still very traditional. If you look at any kind of manufacturing process over the last 20 years, you know, from fashion to any other form of production, even when they make, you know, the development of cars, electric cars, how they make them today, then the building industry is, if you would look at the curves, the building industry is still very flat in its production systems. It's almost, we built almost as 20 years ago. But in other industries, it's going really up. So, yes, I mean, I mean, architecture is still quite a traditional profession, and yeah, I sometimes provoke by saying that architecture is still, and the industry of architecture is still in the Walkman phase. Yeah, not in the iPhone phase.
Right, right. And nowadays, with the, let's say, you're going to find in the world, you know, shared technologies of any kind. How can still an architectural practice like yours keep itself in the forefront of new ideas and development with all this world where everything is shared, how can you still be unique?
Yeah, it's difficult because you know that it is a profession whereby you have to, if you want to stay in the forefront, you know everything about it. If you have to stay in the forefront, you need to have a lot of research and development, and with our UNS X team, we do a lot of research and development, and we have another company called UN Sense, where even ideas around smart cities, although smart cities, we don't call it smart cities, but that we use technology in the built environment, that costs a lot of investment, and it is, I can tell you, it's not easy. It's hard work to
I can imagine.
To pull all that.
It's challenging all the time.
Yeah, a lot of other companies would like to give more bonuses and you know, shares to the shareholders, but we put it maybe for 70% back into the company,
which helps, of course, to grow and helps to develop.
No complaints, because with that we are actually maybe one of the few companies who are dealing with architecture and technology, and there are not so many doing that.
Okay, one last question. It's more a curiosity, let's say, about Jens. I think in 2016 you wrote this book with Caroline, Knowledge Matters, where you were describing the ideal studio, architectural studio. Is that idea of 2016 still something that you can apply today in this after COVID pandemic, or did the world change so much that we really have to rethink everything?
Well, I mean, we have to definitely rethink a lot, like you know, but I think we were a little bit too early with that book, because you know today it is when I showed my students and I asked them to read it, and they reacted more positively towards it than, let's say, 4 years ago. It didn't do so well. And now, I mean, we went for a second print, and it's actually read a little bit more, and I get still reactions from the book. But maybe for the ones who like to know about it, it's a book about how knowledge and innovation can stimulate in the way how you collaborate, not only alone, but with all your parties, like, I mean, we have worked with your specialists, I mean, with all the specialists of Delta Light, I mean, we had a system of working that is not like very traditional, whereby the architect says, this is the idea, this is how it needs to be organized, and we didn't go through a linear process. And that's the idea. You know, the idea of knowledge matters was actually based on the principle that you have to rethink in the way how you organize yourself in the process of design, because I think we are still quite linear in the way. I mean, the profession is still linear. Sorry, in the way how we go from sketch to, you know, technical drawing and that. But here we didn't do it. Here we had constant interacting, testing, redoing it, and testing. You know, so that I think is the future of.
So the experimental process anyway becomes even more important than in the past.
Yeah, and more, I believe, more efficient. more efficient, because then you can bring all the intelligence together from everyone in the office. You know, I mean, the members of your studio who are here knows how I believe and we work. We have even trainees who are part of the design process, and we ask them also what do they think. You know, how do they see things differently than we do? So to constantly mirror yourself and make sure that everyone is involved.
Thank you very much. So now, you know, I leave it to you for your questions. And of course, I can translate your question from Italian to English. So you're very welcome.
Con la pandemia in particolare noi abbiamo sempre più assistito a una commistione tra lo spazio dell'ufficio e lo spazio della casa, no? Quindi mi domandavo come sarà il nostro ufficio, il nostro workspace nel futuro e cosa si può fare, cosa l'architettura del design può fare per renderlo confortevole, perché se passiamo tutta la giornata poi a casa abbiamo mille interazioni sociali e come dire, poi questo ha un effetto sulla nostra salute mentale e sociale.
Domanda per entrambi, direi.
Sì. This question is about, you know, the fact that after the pandemic period, of course, we have seen our spaces becoming more hybrid. So you don't really have an office space and a pure office space anymore. You don't have a pure home space anymore. Things are becoming, you know, very mixed. And actually, this something very interesting I would like to mention, because particularly at the moment in Palazzo Bovara, you're going to find also the fluid home installation, which is actually showing, you know, how we can use spaces in a mixed way. And so I recommend everybody to have a look there, because it's extremely interesting. But how do you manage nowadays to create this space? How can you make this space, let's say, interesting and livable in today's society?
I do believe that the office space today needs to be almost more attractive than your home. You know, because it's very difficult to get everyone from home to the office again in the future. And not that it is necessary for everyone, because I think that a hybrid work model is possible for some companies, but for instance, our industry, it's not so easy, because we need to sketch, we need to talk, we need to touch the materials, we need to see the materials. So to combine the way of how the quality of being home in your workspace with, of course, a place where you love to come and work, but we will not call it work anymore. We would call it innovating with each other, nice ideas, whereby spaces will be so organized that you could maybe have a little breakout space next to your place where you work, and make sure that you have good food, you know, good lighting, good acoustics, that you can sport there. You know, all these things are going to be part of an environment where people love to come. Don't forget the recruiting quality of today. You know, to recruit is one of the most difficult aspects of today. It's very difficult to get top talent today. It's almost after COVID, we have noticed that in our country, in Holland, that it is very difficult to get top talent. And I think that with the tech companies where we work for instance, I maybe don't write it down, but it is Booking.com, where we do the headquarters for. But this tech company invested a lot in innovation of the way how in the future this headquarters of Booking needs to work together here in this new building. And you cannot believe it, they have for each restaurant a different interior. If you come into the building, you don't come into the lobby anymore, there is no lobby. You walk in and you just can immediately see how people are working, so that you understand the life and niceness of the office space. Then you make a round. So, and this is what Booking thought. They thought very hard about it, because they thought that it would be good that people experience first the office environment before they go to any secretary. So in order also to think of a recruiting machine for making it attractive for people to come there. And for instance, on the ground floor, the two sorry, it's a long answer. But on the ground floor, we have cafes, restaurants, and they're connected to the public area. So that also the public can mix themselves with the booking people who are actually maybe, who knows, having a conversation about daily life, as if you are not in the office. You know, you're just out there having a lunch or whatever, but you're not working, and you're mixed with people from the city. Also, it is connected to, that's the last answer, last part of the answer, it's connected to a Grand Central Station where people can take the train so that you don't have to come by car, very comfortable. There is a biking parking for, I think, around 2,000 bikes underneath the building, so you can come by bike, because in Amsterdam you can easily come by bike. So all these things are, you know, quite amazing how they thought about, strange enough already, these ideas 4 years ago, as if they would know that COVID would come to them.
So yes, I found this very interesting also with the idea of creating in a way an experience, not only destructuring the building or redesign in a different way, but also create some experience for who's working there, who's living there. Okay, the fact that in this connection with the station, still I think in Milano, having the experience of going to the office with a bike can really be, pretty dangerous. Maybe in Amsterdam less, but I think I want to add just one thing about this, if I may. We also work as Delta Light. We work also with some of the company used to build co-working spaces, large companies, large conglomerates, which they are forced nowadays to re-see completely their way of working, their way of creating these spaces. And talking recently with some of them, one of the latest trends, for example, is to create no more a co-working space, but a co-meeting room, okay, where these rooms become common to different companies who just offer them for the employee when they have to meet and socialize and have business meeting, and they don't have anymore the real office that they rent out, but just the meeting room. So there are really things which are changing very fast at the moment, due to the post-pandemic period.
I think there was another question.
Yes.
Yes.
Vorrei sapere cosa generalmente quando collabora e collaborazioni ricerche, cosa trovo di speciale in Delta Light.
Okay, what kind when you create a collaboration with a manufacturer, what are you really looking for, and what was special in the collaboration with Delta Light?
Spatial?
Yes, what you found?
Special.
Let's say yes.
One of the most important things that we often like to go first to the factory to understand how you work and how you manufacture whatever you do. So we do that with every company because that is the only way to learn about the craft. So that's number one, and we, for us, the click is the most important. We have to have a very important click with the company, with all the specialists around, all the designers, so that we feel that we can get the maximum out of the idea of the product, what the client wants and what the company wants. And the special thing was here that almost everyone was involved in the design. Like I said about the way how we do it with stagiaires even on the table, and specialists from all over in the company were a part of it. I mean, that was the same with Delta Light. So that was really unique and special, I find.
Also because we have to say that anyway, the Soliscape development process was over 2 years. So
yes.
It took some time. We went through different stages, and I have to say also that the initial conceptual stage has been probably, I would say, maybe longer than with any other product we also developed. because we really wanted to identify something, you know, all the requirement of this system that could fulfill, you know, the nowadays needs of the user.
Yeah, I mean, one shouldn't underestimate the technical research we had to go through. Quite unbelievable. Yeah.
I have another practical question. This is very practical, okay? I think does not only refers to, you know, to an architectural practice, but I'm very curious, you know, nowadays managing practices with over 200 people like your, it must be pretty challenging with all this creativity and different ideas, melting pot, because I know that you also employ people with different background, not only architects. How do you manage this melting pot process?
It's you know, don't forget, it's like you. This company exists already more than 25 years. So over the years, I learned myself not to be on top of everything related to management, for instance. I don't do anything or close to anything of the management anymore. And recently we took on 6 months ago, after long discussions, we took on a managing director. You know, and that, you know, for a long time we thought that as partners and founders we could do also the management, and I don't do that anymore. I spend most of my time on doing the research with my people, going, you know, I have a very staccato system. Most of the design meetings I don't sit, we stand, we all stand, and we do them in 20 minutes. So, but then I do them regularly, so every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. And you know, spending time with my clients, you know, that's what I like too, you know, so that's how I do it. And then you cannot believe it, I think we have more than 45, 50 projects running in a year. But don't forget, you know, with good designers and a good atmosphere, you can be quite staccato, and you know, I've luckily not, I really have to touch wood, because my people.
Luckily, it's a wood stool, so we have some.
I have to touch wood. I have to touch wood because I have luckily enough also people with me who stayed longer than only 5 years. They say 10, 15, 20, 25 years. And it's very important. A lot of people think, yeah, it's not good for the company, but for me it's very important, because then with a few words, really, you know, we understand each other very quickly.
That's a good thing. So,
there was a question that.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for the speech. That was really interesting and inspiring. And while you were talking before, I was thinking, if we go back to Middle Ages time, people were hanging around castles with lighting in their hands and make a chandelier or a candle. And nowadays it seems that lighting has become a sort of layer of architectural structure. So the question is, if you imagine in the future lighting will have again a relationship with human being, or will only be a technical part of building?
That's a very nice question, because it touches a possible critical note, and that is that will with technology and data, because I mean light is in a way data today. You know, LED is
electronics.
Is electronics, so it's a kind of other system than ever we have ever invented before. You might be worried that we might move towards a more technological age with light, but I would say I think it will stretch up the possibilities of the cultural, human-centric, or you know, yeah, call it the cultural. I mean by that more the art historian, architectural art historian side of architecture too, because hopefully with particular qualities of light, think of museums, or think about the way how we can lit sculptures in the future. That can be all related to maybe particular kind of experiences who are related to that history where you talk about. Maybe we can light art sometimes when we like it with a candlelight, with artificial light. You know what I mean. But then we should really make sure that we don't forget, like what you said, that history, because I think that if you go back to Rembrandt was a very good example, or El Greco, there were fantastic painters, for instance, and art historians who wrote about these painters, who knew very well that light was not the only importance of the quality of the painting, but more or less the shadow.
Caravaggio.
Yeah, Caravaggio is one of the most exciting examples.
Yeah, with Italy also, but add some
I know,
Italians.
in Italy you don't. No, we can. Maybe we could do that in another talk. Then we
Yeah, of course.
Then we go.
Gladly.
Start with Venetian paintings, and then can do the Florentine, and then the Roman paintings.
Absolutely.
So we can do that another time. But I agree with you. We should. Yeah, I think these two worlds will come more together. But then there needs to be a will to do that.
Great.
Allora, avete già in parte risposto e quindi poi siamo in una città che è proprio l'icona del design, però mi faceva piacere fare un passo indietro e sapere, conoscere perché avete scelto Milano appunto come città sede per rappresentare il Soliscape.
Okay, so of course Milano is an icon of design, but the lady is asking why has been chosen Milano as a place to launch Soliscape. Maybe I can give a short answer myself. Okay. Sì, diciamo che le ragioni sono molteplici. Prima di tutto è la prima occasione che abbiamo veramente per poterci rincontrare, e quindi anche questo concetto che mostriamo nel nostro showroom, un po' della natura che aveva ripreso, diciamo, i suoi spazi. Noi cerchiamo di recuperarli ancora, e quindi abbiamo scelto Milano come prima presenza fisica dell'oggetto, del prodotto, perché comunque il prodotto è stato già presentato non fisicamente un paio di mesi fa, però abbiamo ragionato su Milano come appunto la sede, comunque una delle città iconiche per il design, oltre al fatto che comunque questo evento, il Fuorisalone, la Milano Design Week sono eventi importanti, e ovviamente anche la possibilità di poterci rincontrare. Questa è la ragione. So,
yeah, but what I like is that what I really like is that we have now the physical experience of the light here today, but don't forget that we wanted to do that already half a year ago or even earlier, and we didn't do that. We went very softly and very nicely, very carefully online, and I thought there was no other way. So I thought, but I thought it was very nice that we already gave glimpses of the idea of the light online, and I think that worked really well. I think that's something we have to think about.
To speak the Italian language, a little appetizer before, and to get the right meal here. That's another reason for Milano.
Yeah, Milano is actually the only place, I can tell you.
Ok, so thank you very much for your participation. Grazie a tutti per aver partecipato. Signore e signori, Ben Van Berkel.
No, thank you.